So this is the last stage of land preparation in the silage making process, and we are racing to the finish line right before the long rains begin. And as you can see, it's very windy. The wind shifts in direction, it blows from the east to the west. And usually this is a sign that the long rains are right around the corner. So we use our 13-foot tandem disc made by Alice Chalmers. We're pulling it with a Ford 6610 four-wheel drive to pulverize the soil and make it as fine as possible for planting. We established our sorghum. We planted our sorghum on time, and we were able to establish germination despite the persistent drought at that time. We used our boom sprayer to irrigate it, just to make it through the dry spell, and we were very impressed that the crop still established despite there being no rain. Sorghum is a dry resistant type of grass. It grows very fast. It matures, and in this case, in just about 2.5 months, it was ready for cutting. It's a very hardy crop. It's very cheap to buy the seeds. It's multi-crop. You can cut it 3 times a year in our case. And it's also insect resistant. Armyworms and other offenders do not mess with sorghum. So it's a much better crop than maize, and the yield is so much higher because we're able to establish a higher seed population, unlike maize, which is takes 4 to 5 months before it can be ready for cutting, and the seeds are very expensive, and it's drought intolerant, and besides other problems like wind damage and hail damage. But the sorghum is really a superior crop as a fodder in compared to maize, and this was our first time trying the sorghum. The seeds were provided by Advent Seeds, based in Nairobi, and the results have been very impressive. Last year we had a really hard time keeping up with our feed requirements, and our herd didn't do very well because we just didn't have the right feeds established. But we are confident this year that we will be able to see an improvement in our herd, simply because we do have enough of quality nutritious feeds. The rains returned, and we started our first harvest, and the rains make it very difficult to extract the crop from the field. The land becomes very soggy, very wet, and it required both tractors in tandem to overcome the muddy, slippery conditions. But my drivers worked very hard through torrential rains to get the crop out of the field on time. We shredded, established the silage heap, compacted it, and basically you want to shred this silage into small pieces, and then you run over it, like you drive over it with a tractor to compact it, which basically removes the air pockets from the heap itself, and then you cover it with airtight material like plastic. And what will happen in 21 days, instead of the chopped fodder rotting and decomposing, it will instead ferment, and it stabilizes as silage, which is good for at least 2 to 3 years if left untouched. That is basically the concept of silage making, but it is a very labor intensive, very horsepower intensive, mechanized type of process that is catching on in Kenya, and we hope to enter this business and become the leaders, if not the giants of silage making in the entire Trans Nzoia and Uasin Gishu districts. We also hope to start producing our own silage that we'll be selling all over the country. Thank you for watching.